Hello, I'm Steve Tolliday, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build up your glutes and your hamstrings. And you can easily do some of these exercises at home, and like any other muscle group, it's all about time under tension, intensity, frequency, recovery, nutrition, and of course using correct technique so we don't injure ourselves. Okay, let's start off with a single leg RDL, or single leg Romanian deadlift. These will actually work your glutes and your hamstrings together. These are a really effective exercise. You can get a good stretch on your hamstrings. Now, I'd recommend holding on something stable to begin with, to keep your balance. And maybe when you get good at these, you can try and do them without holding on something. It's quite tricky, but that will actually help you improve your balance over time. So, grab a dumbbell, start off with a light weight or no weight at all. Keep your back nice and straight. So you're just going to hinge at the hips, you're not going to round your back on this. By keeping your back nice and straight, you're far less likely to injure yourself. Just lower yourself down nice and slow. Have a slight bend in your knee. Ideally you want to feel a nice stretch on your hamstrings. And then just throw your other leg out behind you, similar to what I'm doing here. And then just breathe in on your way down and breathe out on your way up. And you want to do about 8 to 15 reps roughly. Then I'd say rest a minute before you're doing your other leg. Even though you're using the other leg, you still need to rest your back a little bit. And do 2 or 3 sets to start off with on both legs. Now these will kill your ass over the next couple of days if you're not used to it. So take it easy to begin with, just build up the intensity over a few sessions. Okay, next exercise, the hip thrust. These will primarily work your glutes. Okay, your glutes are the primary movers for hip extension. Now try and have your knees around 90 degrees when you're at the top of the lift. So that's when your hips are extended. I'd recommend using a barbell sleeve on these, otherwise you're going to potentially hurt your hips. And you want the top part of your back and your rear delts touching the bench. Okay, that's where you're going to be pivoting from, and make sure the bench is stable. Maybe test it without any weights to begin with. Yeah, you don't want that tipping over. Okay, so just lower yourself down pretty much as far as you can, nice and slow, and then just push your hips up, back up to the top. Again, I'd say 8 to 15 reps, 2 or 3 sets. Now an exercise that does pretty much the same thing as this that you don't need any equipment for are glute bridges. And you can do these with one leg straight out. This will increase intensity a little bit. Or you can have your leg bent at the knee and hip like this. This will make it a bit easier, and it will also increase the range of motion. So I'd say just pick the one that you prefer or mix it up a bit, alternate them. So lie flat on the floor, hands by your side, and then push your hips upwards so the knee on your working leg is around 90 degrees at the top. And try and get as much of a squeeze as you can on your glutes when you do these. And then just lower yourself down again, nice and slow. Swap legs and do the same thing. If these get too easy, you can always put a weight plate on your hip or a dumbbell to add some intensity. And yeah, just make sure you're nice and slow on the eccentric, which is on your way down. In fact, in case you're not aware, the eccentric portion of the lift, that's when your muscles are lengthening under load. That's where most of the muscle damage occurs. So maybe a second on your way up, 2 or 3 seconds on your way down. Now an isolation exercise you can do for your hamstrings are leg curls, which I'm sure you've all seen before. These are pretty straightforward, to be honest. If you suffer from cramp in your hamstrings, then just be careful with these. Yeah, make sure you warm up properly and stretch afterwards. So keep your hips down when doing these. Don't stick your ass out. Hold it nice and tight. Lift the weight up by flexing your knees. Then slowly lower the weight again. Don't drop the weight all the way down to the bottom. Just keep constant tension on your hamstrings. Again, do 8 to 15 reps. Gosh, I know it's a bit boring doing 8 to 15 reps all the time, but it's the ideal rep range for building muscle. Some exercises are okay to do a higher weight and less reps, okay, but I wouldn't say that for isolation exercise. That's more of a compound where you're using multiple joints, multiple muscle groups. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing higher reps than that. If it's building muscle you're after, that rep range is ideal for the vast majority of exercises. When you're trying to build muscle, you need to make sure you're giving your muscles a reason to grow. So once you've done a couple of practice sessions, start increasing the intensity. You want to try and get pretty close to failure. And over time, add more weight, do more reps. So if you're going to do 8 to 10 reps, for example, try and do 11 reps, 12 reps. Once you can do 15 reps with a weight, just add a bit more weight. Okay, and just keep doing that over time. That's progressive overload. If you only do what you're capable of doing, there's no reason for your muscle to grow. You have enough muscle on your body. So you've got to try and keep pushing yourself. And make sure you rest at least 48 hours before training the same muscle groups again. And as far as protein goes, which is what you need for building muscle, you need 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound body weight. If you have that, you're fine. You don't need to go over that. Okay, a lot of people over-obsess about how much protein they have. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 140 to 160 grams, of protein is more than enough. Eat at least 4 times a day to utilise muscle protein synthesis. And if you want to build up your quads to match those hamstrings and glutes of yours, I've got a video here you can watch. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.